Welcome to Onboard's coffee break. It's great to have you here. Thank you very much. My name is Stuart Forster. I'm a senior editor at BMI Publications and I specialize in tech and retail. And I've got three guests who are based in Britain, but not everybody's from Britain in this call. So I'd love to have you introduce yourselves, please, where you're at and what's your names.
Hi, my name is Sonja. I live in Iceland and I work for an airline there based called Play. And I'm the Chief Commercial Officer and I've been in the aviation for over 13 years now.
Cool. Thanks very much, Sonja.
Depending where we are, hello there. I'm Kevin Clark. I'm the Chief Executive of Bluebox. I'm based in Scotland in the UK, which is where we're based. A little bit like yourself, Sonja, I've been in the commercial aviation sector for about 13, 14 years. So.
And last but not least,
James, yeah. Thanks, Stuart. Hi, everyone. I'm James Kelly. I'm Chief Commercial Officer with Most. I have been in the aviation industry for about 10 years now. Yeah, I'm looking forward to today.
Great stuff. Well, Play, when did you start operating and what relationship have you got with the companies that are also on this call, Sonja?
Yeah, we started building our Play in 2019, and we were running quite fast, and then some pandemic hit. So we had a quite good time just to evaluate optimizing everything that we want to do, both for farmer experience, but also what everybody was doing. And we started our first flight 2021 in June. So we are almost 3 years old now in a few weeks. And we are just always evaluating what we can do. And that's why we started talking to Kevin and James and their teams.
Excellent. So how do you all fit together? What is it that if I'm a passenger on a Play flight, what will I see and what are the touch points that come from Most and also from Bluebox Aviation's products?
Yeah.
Well, I guess. Go on.
Yeah, Kevin, go. You can go.
No, I was actually going to say you first meet Play, so that's the obvious place to start, and then you meet Most, and then I guess you meet Bluebox. So that's a nice way to perhaps explain the various touch points.
Exactly.
So, do you want to talk a little bit about maybe Most? Yeah, go on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we are, of course, we are a local airline. And we are very focused on the ancillaries. We see the biggest opportunity is to increase the revenue through the ancillary product. Yeah. So we saw an opportunity to do it, for example, in flight. And that's what we needed was even better retail system. So we started talking to Most how we could do that. And that's we integrated with them. And that went very well. We have been talking to Bluebox also for the same period of time. Yeah. So that was a fun addition that we wanted to integrate for the customer journey. So it's just amazing product, I would say, to increase revenue on board.
I don't know Most. So James, what is it that if I'm seeing your product, experiencing your product, what is it that you do for me as a passenger?
Sure. Yeah. Well, I mean, maybe just quickly beforehand, just to touch on that about Play and their startup journey. Interestingly, Play were our very first customer. And I think that's one of the reasons why it worked so well. We were a startup at the time. Play were essentially a startup at the time. We both knew what we were doing and the challenges of starting a business, especially back during those times. So I think the fit was really great, and they've been a great customer to work with. At Most, I suppose we provide essentially technology for a world on the move. And what that means is we provide hardware, software, and payment processing services, essentially to anything that is mobile. So from an airline's perspective, that is at its core focusing on in-flight point of sale, payment processing, inventory management, and especially for an airline like Play, really sort of detailed, granular level of reporting from both a payment perspective and also from a sales and revenue generation perspective. And, that then allows Play to really analyze, what's happening on board, what product is selling best, what routes require what products, and really tailor their offerings so that, at the end of the day, that the passenger gets what they want on board in terms of, food and beverage or other products, and the airline obviously maximizes their revenue. And then at Most, we really help our airlines capture that revenue. At its core, we have it's both an offline and online payment gateway, but predominantly for low-cost carriers. It's an offline payment gateway where we facilitate deferred authorization transaction processing. So that's where the airline is taking payment from passengers on board in an offline environment, and then we are handling and sending those payments off to the payment acquirer for authorization and ultimately settlement back to the airline.
Yeah. So then if you want to layer on top of that, then the digital portion for the passenger point of view, that's where Bluebox comes in. And it's probably worth saying, as Sonja mentioned there, we've known Play since the early days with our WOW platform, and we've known Most since their early days, in fact, even before as well. So we know if you can layer on top of the capabilities that Most are offering, a sort of digital platform that allows passengers to interact directly, then you've opened up a whole new world of capabilities and interesting ways of engaging with the passengers. So it gives another way in which the airline can engage with passengers. It also gets the crew engaged as well, and it really augments the service. It doesn't displace or replace the service. It just works, hand in glove with the capabilities that are already there, which is why it's such a nice fit.
Yeah.
And I think
putting the systems together is I would say a great touch to everything, because then we have right price, right product for each and every flight route, and adding the Bluebox on top of it for the best customer experience, but also to maximize revenue. And as Kevin said, to engage the crew, it's more smooth experience for everybody.
Yeah, and I think maybe just to add to that, what also works well between ourselves and Bluebox in particular for airlines like Play is where the sector lengths are maybe a little on the longer side. I suppose, Sonja, you could probably touch on it, but I think even the shortest sectors for Play are in excess of 2-3 hours. The integration together with Bluebox really allows the airline then to offer that sort of retailing and service capabilities at all times, and not just at the traditional times when the crew will be walking up and down the cabin, but to really extend that offering to really any time during the flight. And obviously that again helps. I suppose often in-flight retail is seen as always about the airline and the revenue generation side, and obviously that's very important, but that also has the effect of giving the passengers a better service, allowing them to order when they want to, and connecting them to the crew even when the crew may not necessarily be walking past their seat.
Yeah.
So, and what about Bluebox Aviation? In what way does that facilitate what the Most do?
So I guess if you can imagine, the best way to describe it is to put it in context. If you can imagine the capability where you have a food and beverage service running anyway. So you've already got a catalogue, you've already got your carts filled with what's on offer. What Bluebox does is, and working with Most, is we will take that inventory, if you like, and we present it in a portal that passengers can access on their own device. So they'll connect to a wireless network in the cabin. They can then browse that pretty much the same as they would any e-commerce site, although in fact it's an offline e-commerce site, but they're browsing what's available to purchase. They can go ahead and make the purchase and have that delivered to their seat. So the crew would be notified that someone's asked for a drink or something to eat. And as James says, it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to sync up necessarily with the crew going back and forward in the normal service. It could even be before the aircraft leaves the ground. The shop's open, you can place orders. They're not serviced until it's in flight, but passengers can if you like, pre-order and they're delivered to their seat. But also in between trolley services or after the trolley service would normally be finished, that shop can still be open and passengers can still be ordering. But that's only the tip of the iceberg. But that's what gives the passenger the ability to see what's available and order what's available. We call it order to seat on demand, but that's what's facilitated. But it does also bring a whole raft of other implications. There's a raft of data that comes available in what people are looking at and perhaps maybe they don't purchase. And that's, if you're following sort of browsing activities, you can see that maybe lots of passengers might look at particular offers but not actually close on those offers. You can then investigate, well, why didn't they close on those offers? Can we do something with those offers, which might just be how they're packaged up or how they're priced, a whole range of parameters that can be adjusted to make them more appealing. And as Sonja said, it's about driving up as much as possible in the nice way, the ancillary revenue that's available.
So how long has the system been in operation now?
It's probably coming up for, well, we ran, so we initially ran in a sort of proof of concept environment. So that's a fairly well monitored, quite tightly defined and fairly well monitored environment. And that ran for about 6 months or so, and then just continued to run into the to a full deployment across the fleet. So the initial deployment was over 3 aircraft running for a limited period. That allowed us to collectively adjust some of the ways in which the service was offered, tweaking how it was delivered, when it's on, when it's not on. You've got to optimize it for the operating environment. But it's probably now running for about 9 months or thereabouts. Yeah.
So what's next? And you're 9 months in. Where's it going to go from here? Wow,
wherever play wishes to take it. I mean, the whole fleet for a start. So it's going to roll over the whole fleet. We've done some integration, some elements of integration. There's other things that we can integrate with on Most. It also gives the airline more flexibility, and flexibility is a key element of building digital systems, both our system and most systems, and indeed any other systems that come into participation here. But the where we go from here is we can, if the airline wishes, you can start to do further integrations. You can vary what's available on certain routes at certain times. You can play with all of the levers to get a sense of how do we optimize the service, and then adjust it accordingly. So there's quite a lot. There's a lot more to do ahead of us than there is behind us, because the concept's proven. Revenue's up, passengers like it, crew are like it and are engaged with it. The key now is, once it's across the whole fleet, is okay, what other elements do we want to do? And some of that's entirely down to the airline and perhaps with Most on things like pricing decisions. Do we bundle some things together? How do we bundle them? What else do we potentially offer on the system? And it's probably worth saying, although this is a retail deployment, I mean, classically we're thought of as predominantly in-flight entertainment. This is not an entertainment system. It's a retail system. However, there are some elements in there that help with the passenger engagement. So there's a moving map, for example, so that passengers can see, where are we, how high are we, how fast are we traveling, what's our time to destination. That's interesting stuff. It's generally the most viewed part of any online system and an aircraft is the moving map. There's also some games in there, but those help passengers to engage. They draw passengers into the system. Once they're on the system, then obviously the rest of the capabilities for retail are available to them. So
I think as well, maybe just to add to that, Kevin, like digitizing the menu offering from the airline's perspective enables more product types to be sold to passengers as well. So products that might require a little more review or decision time by the passenger, then they need to read a little bit more about them, or even watch a video to give them a little more information about the product. That's where you can really enhance the retail offering by digitizing the menu, and then obviously from there making it very easy, as Kevin said, for passengers to browse, select, and then actually get that order right through to the crew point of sale device that's in their hand, and then they can fulfill that order.
Yeah, and with this data, it gives us a better opportunity to dynamically price the product. Also better, like just an overview for each and every flight, because it's so different between our markets, which product we are selling here and then next on a London flight. So it's also helping us for better smart packing. So because just filling the plane with trolleys full of products that we are not going to sell, it's just very high cost, more fuel that we need. And so we need to do it very smart, and this is helping us doing that. So it's also cost saving.
When you say dynamic pricing, does that mean that you could say, right, between this particular route, this will be a good price point for a particular product, but this one here, we need to price it differently for whatever reasons may be involved?
Yeah, if you look at our local people from Iceland, we love buying everything. We are very keen to travel, and we are very keen to buy on board. So I would say we can have fairly good prices on board for Icelanders. Then we have few other nationalities that are not keen to buy that much. Then we can try to discount quite a lot, even if it's only 1 hour left of the flight and the trolley is not are still fully loaded. The crew can just, okay, let's activate some discounts and try out if we can sell some products. So there are all kinds of opportunity.
And that can be also useful from fresh food perspective, to really minimize wastage on board as well, both from just obviously a cost perspective, but even from an environmental perspective, just to really minimize the waste at the end of every day, allowing the crew and the airline to have a bit more control, which obviously requires the support systems as well, but is to allow them to reduce price maybe on the last leg or the last hour of the last leg, to try and shift that product that, if it's not sold, is ultimately going to be disposed of at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Yeah. And those are kind of real-time decisions. So gathering that information and providing the information to be able to make those decisions, is important and much easier to do when you've got digital systems that support that. And James mentioned a little bit earlier on the amount of data that can be captured to be analysed to make decisions about what to carry and such like. There are, when you put digital into it and put the passenger experience into that digital mix, then you can start to analyse, as I kind of alluded to earlier, some of the things that don't happen, the movements that don't lead to buying behaviours, and you can then take that data, you can start to use it to make judgments about, okay, what do we do with pricing or availability at particular times or whatever. But you can also start to extend that into personalization or some degree of personalization, all the way up potentially to hyper personalization, because you're presenting to passenger communities, but in the future you could be looking at, okay, well, how refined can we get about those passenger communities based on now the very deep data lake we have of information which we can analyze, that can help us start to perhaps present through maybe the airline application, which will know something about the passenger itself, because the passenger's carrying the application on their device, something that talks to preferences, whether it's pricing that talks to preferences or particular variability at particular times. So there's a whole range of additional things you can do as the platform evolves and the depth of that data increases as well.
Sounds like there's huge potential. What is the dynamic between your three companies to come together and explore what can be done?
I would say I mean, you probably got a sense from the initial conversation. It's very open. I mean, I would say that we obviously talked to lots and lots of airlines. Play, I would put in the very enlightened digital camp. They've got some very good people that know that understand data and analysis of data, and actually have some fairly good clear views on where they think the airline should go as a digital environment, and how that should play into the passenger experience, and very open with us, and I suspect with most as well. And we have a very good relationship. But collectively, we are we're all very open. We've all got, you know, fairly clear views on where we're going as individual businesses, but how those directions overlap to our mutual benefit, I would say. And I think it fundamentally comes down to relationship. For sure, you've got to have the technical abilities and capabilities, but it comes down to the relationships. And I would say that we all have, as businesses and individuals within the businesses, we have very, very good open and candid relationships.
Yeah, I agree. It's we have many ideas and we want to run very fast. And it's just very good to have an open conversation of ideas from very crazy to very good ideas and be able to implement it. It's been great collaboration.
Yeah.
James, have you got anything to add there?
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, I mean, echo everything Sonja and Kevin has said, but you know, obviously we meet with both companies on a very regular basis. Of, you know, as part of our customer programming, we meet with Play on a weekly basis at an absolute minimum and communicate almost daily. And very similarly with Kevin and the Bluebox team, obviously, you know, recognizing the value that we can bring when we work together, like ourselves and Bluebox, for example. You know, we can obviously bring an enhanced offering to airlines, and in particular where, you know, there's a mutual benefit and interest in that, you know, in terms of Play, it really makes sense for us to work very closely together and understand what each party offers and what each party owns, so that, you know, ultimately what we want to do is give the best solution to the airlines. So we're very careful and conscious to talk regularly, not just speak, but on the technical side, you know, we both have a team of people who manage the sort of the interface, the technical interface between our two systems, and ensure that, you know, from a Play perspective and in particular from a crew perspective, it's as seamless an integration as possible, so that it's ultimately not increasing the workload or burden on the crew who are already really busy doing the essential pieces of their work in terms of safety and customer support. And, you know, we want to make that ancillary revenue and retailing proposition as simple as possible for them and as easy to use for the passenger.
Yeah. Maybe to add in, I thought it was also great when we were integrating and trying out the products. We have from both James and Kevin's team, there were people flying with us back and forth, just checking out the system, and I'm like, what? That's amazing. Be able to do that, yeah.
I was going to say that to add to that, Sonja, we have no hardship in our business finding volunteers to spend time in either Iceland or Dublin, I guess. Mm-hmm. And it's helpful. It's helpful that Play in the right time of the year flies in and out of Scotland. So that's it does help. But
it's very true. There's no the best will in the world when you design something until you actually sit on board the aircraft and see it being used and see how the crew, even if, you know, the training and the design says it should be used this way, to really see how it's ultimately used in practice to fit in with, you know, like I was saying, like what they have to do on every single flight. Then you see how it's been adopted and how it's being used, and, you know, we can really then sort of tailor the solution to make sure that it fits in well with what the crew are doing. So
exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. Well, we're going to have to wrap up soon, but before we do finish, I'd like to ask each of you where you think things are going to develop next. Starting with Sonja, what about Play? What are the next steps for you guys?
Yeah, we are very data driven. We look very deep into it, all our data. Where is the opportunity? We have all kinds of ideas. So our goal is just to keep on optimizing, increasing revenue, but at the same time having the best customer experience. So we have all kinds of new products and ideas we want to implement, and we'll be very excited to introduce that to our customers.
Excellent. James, have you got anything to throw into the mix?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I suppose for us, it's really about twofold with Play. It's enhancing what we already have. We have a very extensive roadmap of new features and functionality that we will continue to provide to Play on a sort of continuous basis. And I suppose a number of those link in very closely with Kevin and the Bluebox team, and that's in particular, you know, like I said, around the types of product and enhancing the types of product that Play can sell because of the integration between Most and Bluebox, and also enhancing the features available from a crew perspective from the integration between ourselves and Bluebox as well, to really give the crew as much information as possible about the passenger that has ordered, and then also to feed that back to Play, and, you know, ultimately empower the crew member to engage as much as possible then with each passenger that they're serving, and that relationship then obviously can help drive further revenue and interaction on board as well.
Yeah.
And Kevin, anything?
Yeah, I mean, from a Bluebox point of view, we're always focused on what is it delivering for the airline and the airline's passengers, because if it isn't, it's not worth having on board. So we're very focused on making sure the capabilities of the what we call the BlueView solution, which is our software solution that runs on our portable product. But that capability continues to develop so that the airlines can get as much value out of that as possible, and the passengers engage with it as much as possible and enjoy engaging with it as much as possible. As James said, there's work to do on further integrations to allow some of those flexible capabilities that Sonja talked about, being able to change things on the fly and be able to make judgments that maximize the shift of the products from the carts. But you know, that's all part of the roadmap work. And from a business point of view, we take all of that learning back into our business. It helps us enhance the product, which we then spread through the community. So where we learn things, and we do learn things from Most, and we learn things from Play, and we take those back into our products, and other customers benefit. We're also learning from other customers as well, and in the roadmap that we're developing, and those come back into product and back into Play and Most. But we look forward to just continuing to develop the relationship. It's been great so far, and you know, long will it continue, hopefully. So.
Good stuff. Anybody, anything else you'd like to say before we say goodbye?
Just thanks for bringing us together, and having a good conversation.
Yeah.
Yes, it's good.
I will see you on Play flights soon.
Yes,
Right
yes.
now,
If you haven't been, Stuart, it's well worth it. We've got to say, no short of people wanting to do on those flights. I even went to the first time before we were doing business together. We wanted to do business together. I actually flew down to Stansted to do the flight up, because it's quite the whole booking path experience is actually really quite interesting as well. It's a really friendly, engaged, quite unique kind of booking path experience. Very personable. So even if you don't buy a ticket, I hope you do, but even if you don't buy a ticket, it's well worth doing it just to feel that experience. It's really quite interesting. So
exactly.
Anyway.
Good stuff. Well, thanks very much for you spending a bit of time together with us this afternoon. Really appreciate it. And goodbye for now. Thanks, and look forward to seeing you again sometime soon. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sonja and James. Yes. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.